There's a political wildfire raging through the south suburbs right now, and standing right in the middle of the blaze is Tiffany Henyard. Once hailed as a bold new voice for change, she crowned herself the super mayor, vowing to bring transparency, honesty, and accountability back to local government. She was young, confident, and looked like the kind of leader people could finally believe in. A fresh start after years of corruption and chaos. She said all the right things, posed for all the right photos, and built a public image that screamed for the people. But that shiny superhero mask? It's cracking fast. Scandal after scandal has ripped holes in her reputation, and now she's facing something that no photo op, no apology speech, and no PR miracle can fix: a full-blown federal investigation. This week alone brought an explosion of bad news. The Illinois State Comptroller officially froze all state payments to Dalton. The reason? Dalton's leadership flat-out failed to turn in legally required financial documents. And this isn't some innocent paperwork slip. It's a 5-alarm corruption siren. No records mean no transparency. No transparency means no accountability. And no accountability means state funds are officially locked. That's not just a bureaucratic fumble. That's leadership falling apart in real time. And as the heat rises, more red flags are flying about where taxpayer money has actually gone. Reports revealed township funds were spent on trips that had zero connection to township business. One glaring example? A national mayor's conference, strictly for city officials. Yet somehow, Thornton Township name showed up on the list. That's not a coincidence. That's a power grab. A calculated move that reeks of misuse and manipulation. With the so-called super mayor already under a federal microscope, this isn't just drama. It's a setup for a massive political showdown. And make no mistake, we're only getting started. Back home in Dalton, the atmosphere is pure chaos. Tension so thick, you could slice it with a knife. The same people who once cheered Henyard's name are now shouting her down in packed board meetings. The same community that used to call her our savior now calls her out as a fraud. Protests are growing louder. Signs are angrier, and trust? Gone. Completely gone. Even inside her circle, the walls are closing in. Allies who once defended her at every turn are quietly stepping away, deleting photos, switching sides. Because when the feds start knocking, loyalty suddenly has an expiration date. At a recent Thornton Township board meeting, that quiet frustration finally detonated. The room erupted, residents shouting, trustees stunned, emotions spilling over like gasoline on fire. What unfolded wasn't just poor management. It was betrayal, plain and simple. Whistleblowers had tried to warn people, waving red flags about corruption and shady spending. But instead of being heard, they were threatened, silenced. Some were even fired on the spot. That's not governance. That's intimidation. The trust between the people and their government didn't just break. It was obliterated. Then came the jaw-dropper. Over $33,000 spent on Amazon in one single day. Not a typo. Not a rounding error. One day. That's not carelessness. That's arrogance. That's someone flexing their power, knowing no one can stop them. This isn't serving the people. This is self-indulgence with public money. Every swipe of that card tells the same story. This was never about leadership. It was about luxury, about ego, about control. But the deepest damage isn't even the money. It's the heartbreak. The community she promised uplift feels gutted. What started as a movement of hope turned into a masterclass in betrayal. People believed Tiffany Henyard would be different, someone who'd fight for the underdog. Instead, they got deception wrapped in a smile. They got smoke and mirrors. They got dreams sold and destroyed. Point one of the few who dared to speak truth was Carmen Carroll, a whistleblower who saw the rot from the inside. She didn't just whisper about it. She took action. And for that courage, she paid the price. Retaliation came fast and brutal. Careers shattered. Fear became policy. In Henyard's world, loyalty wasn't earned. It was demanded. Question her, and you were erased. Challenge her, and you were punished. Tell the truth, and you were done. This isn't leadership. It's dictatorship disguised as empowerment. And now, the mask is slipping for everyone to see. What once looked like a fresh start has rotted into a cautionary tale, a brutal reminder of what happens when power goes unchecked. decisions made in the dark. Public meetings turned into scripted PR theater. Residents locked out of their own government. Voices silenced. Truth buried beneath polished lies. But the press wouldn't back down. Reporters kept digging. And every headline peeled back another scandal. Behind every speech, every smile, there was decay. And now, the feds are circling. Subpoenas stacking up. Agents knocking on doors. The pressure's boiling over, and even her tightest allies can't spin the story anymore. What once passed for confidence now reeks of control and manipulation. Desperate, Henyard scrambles to keep up the act. Public comment shut down. Journalists blocked. Narratives rewritten in real time. But no matter how hard she spins it, the cracks are too deep. The trust is gone. The image is shattered. And the fallout? Exploding out into the open for the world to see. The people's mayor has been unmasked, and it turns out she was never for the people at all. Lavish trips, private jets, VIP treatment, all funded by the very taxpayers she swore to fight for. Tiffany Henyard's slogan said for the people, but her actions screamed for herself. And then came the plot twist nobody saw coming, the Good Burger Facebook fiasco. Once upon a time, Henyard owned a small restaurant called Good Burger. It shut down years ago, but the Facebook page didn't. Instead, it magically transformed into the Tiffany Henyard Cares Cancer Foundation. Same page, same admin, same login. When residents started asking where the donations were going, she denied everything. Straight face, no blink, but the receipts online told the truth she wouldn't. And when the feds catch even a whiff of charity fraud, the game changes instantly. This isn't bad PR anymore. It's potential prison time. In just 2 weeks, the FBI issued 5 subpoenas. 5, targeting Dalton and Thornton Township. 1 focused on a private security detail, where an officer allegedly clocked over 300 hours in just 14 days. Do the math. That's more than 21 hours a day. No breaks, no sleep, no logic. Now, the feds want answers. And for Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, there's nowhere left to hide. Dalton officials have been ordered to hand everything over, every document, every record, by May 20th. No delays, no excuses. This isn't a polite request. It's the law coming down hard. And this is what a political collapse looks like. Fast, loud, and unforgiving. The crown of Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard is shattered. Once seen as unstoppable, she's now surrounded by subpoenas, lawsuits, and federal scrutiny. This isn't some gossip column drama. It's real life, real families, real taxpayer money burned and betrayed. And now that she's out of office, the shield is gone. No title, no safety net, no protection. Tiffany Henyard stands alone, facing the storm she created. The question now: will she fade into history as another corrupt politician who flew too close to the sun? Or is she plotting one last desperate comeback? Because make no mistake, her empire isn't just crumbling, it's detonating. The image, the speeches, the super mayor brand, all of it collapsing in full view of the people she once vowed to serve. Dalton doesn't need another headline, it needs healing. After years of broken promises, the people have lost more than money. They've lost trust. They've lost hope. What they demand now is accountability. And as subpoenas pile up and insiders start talking, one thing is clear. This story is far from over. The biggest bombshells might still be coming. Will Tiffany Henyard disappear into scandal's shadow, or stage one last dramatic act? Either way, the final chapter isn't written yet. And if history is any clue, it's about to get messy. Not governance, but a one-woman empire powered by intimidation and ego. Now, the mask is gone, the illusion shattered. Each subpoena, each headline, each insider leak reveals the same truth. Tiffany Henyard was never leading. She was performing, and the tragedy? It didn't have to end this way. If the hard questions had been asked sooner, if oversight had stepped in, if someone had simply said enough. But now the damage is done. The FBI's clock is ticking, and the final chapter is already being written in INKS. Well, the only question left is this. Will Tiffany Henyard go quietly, or will she try to rewrite her own downfall? Whatever happens next, one thing is certain. Dalton deserves better. And this story? It's nowhere near over.